Hey fam, it's your man Dante the Dark Knight, and welcome to another edition of Eagles Talk upon further review, where we go over the Eagles' past game. And that game was lost to the Kansas City Chiefs at home, where we stopped nothing. Our defense couldn't stop anything. So, word for the day is rebuild. We're in a rebuild, people. Remember that. Maybe that will help us to accept what is going on, or watch the game in a different manner. We got to remember, it's not saying that we give up on the year and all that, but it gives you some perspective on what we should be looking for in our Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I'm not telling you not to look for wins, not to root for wins. We're supposed to do that. But absence of that, we should be looking for progress. That's what we should be looking for, improvement and progress throughout the year. So remember, word for the day, you see it on the bottom, rebuild. Rebuild. Rebuild, okay? Remember that.
Oh man. Oh
We
man.
got
That's
it. We
funny.
got to, man. It's the
That's
only
funny.
way to get through this season. I mean, it was a winnable game. Surprisingly enough, we were in it uh, in the third quarter, 28-23, and then we kind of really fell apart. But nobody, we didn't expect to win that, right? We didn't. They gave us some thrills by staying in it and things like that. But to get so upset that you're ready to bust a blood vessel
I'm
is
ready.
it's not,
It's not
stop
even.
it. Don't do it. Don't
It's
do it
it's
to
it's it's,
yourself.
it's not about busting a blood vessel. It's about drinking right now because that's what we. Because that what this team drives you to drink. Their philosophy, their acronyms, their sayings, their different T-shirts. Um, I, I, I try to convince myself on this coach. I got those several flags on myself. So with
we
that being, go
look.
ahead.
With that being said, let's start the first quarter.
You're now listening to the
All right, we're going to talk about all that, but you are watching Eagles Talk, the number one Eagles coverage show on Facebook that's by fans, for fans. And we like to talk about our favorite football team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Even though they lost three in a row. We still like to talk about them, and we do so in such a relaxed manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage. Tonight, I will be only doing one shot, but I will continue to drink the Don Julio
Down,
1942.
down
And
at
Pat,
Bulo.
what are you doing?
Terramana. I got a little
Terramana.
Terramana right here. Yep.
All right, so we can kind of drink our sorrows away. Another loss, three in a row. We'll talk about what happened in that game, and in a little bit at the end of the show, we'll start previewing our matchup against the Carolina Panthers coming up Sunday. So everybody, raise your drinks to our Philadelphia Eagles, and let's salute them. And down the hatch, 3, 2, 1.
Woo. Dante. I told you the first thing I need to do is throw a flag on myself. So
All
that's
right,
what I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
do, man.
Flag on the play.
Listen. Beginning of the season, we talked about this defensive coordinator's philosophy, how he's going to come in there with a hybrid type defense. He's going to rotate he's going to have the defense predicated on the skill set of his players. He's going to show different fronts. Nothing's going to be the same. We got all excited about that. We was all like, "Yo, we got a coach that's going to do something and not play six defense. Coach that blitz." That was farther from the truth, Dante. This team is last in blitzing. This team is first in the amount of zone coverage they play. This team is nothing but a young Jim Schwartz defense, 2.8.
Yeah, it's almost Jim Schwartz defense without Jim Schwartz's experience.
No,
Because
no
even
dime
Jim Schwartz
packages.
will, he would, yeah, Jim Schwartz would even mix it up and throw blitz in it. Although he didn't like to do it, but he blitzed more than this guy. And you're right. I'm a little disappointed in what I've seen from the defense thus far because, like we said on the post game, coming into this year, and when this coaching staff was hired, especially JG, well, maybe he doesn't get the nickname now. He has to earn JG. But Jonathan Gannon,
Hmm.
Jonathan Gannon had us believe that this was going to be a more aggressive defense. At least
Yeah.
that's what I thought. Even in the absence of him saying it, because he confessed to us early on that he didn't have a scheme, that he was going to design his defense around his personnel. I still expected and was eager to see a more aggressive defense. We talked about hopefully returning to the days where our defense was our identity.
Yes.
And you said it before. You said it in the post game. We have no identity, and
None.
we were looking forward that hopefully maybe the defense was going to be our identity because we had a new defensive coordinator. We were excited about him. We were tired of the sticks defense that Jim Schwartz was playing, not sending a lot of blitzes, and we thought it was going to be different. And now, after 4 games, we see that it's not. It's not different. We blitz even less than Jim Schwartz. What do you
Yeah,
say?
the thing about it is that people he say he doesn't have the talent to play this dime. He don't have a dime package, dude. Dude, you never come on air and say what you don't have. You keep that to yourself. All right, that shows the innate ability that you have in a coach. Basically, what I think he did was he lied on his resume to get the job. He was able to talk. His references was his friends. He put all that stuff as all my skill set. This all things I could do, and he finally gets a job. Be like, oh crap. How do you do this? What's this philosophy? Oh crap. Let me just keep it vanilla.
Well, you know what? To his defense, and
No
and it's
defense.
hard, but
He
to
has
his
he has no
defense,
defense.
he doesn't have the weapons that maybe he doesn't have the weapons. Does he have linebackers?
All right, let me throw something out there
I'm
for you.
just
Okay,
asking. Do
I,
you think we have
no,
the appropriate
no, I'll tell you,
linebackers?
let me rebuttal that before we go into the linebackers, because you said weapons. He doesn't have the weapons. Then you put another question out there about the linebackers. First and
All right.
foremost, we right now this team has the best cornerbacks it's had since freaking Sheldon Brown, and Lito Shepard. Right, Darius Slay, believe it or not, he
He's
only had
grading high. I agree with
he's
that.
a
He's
very
grading high.
high graded cornerback. When he came here, he was a high graded quarterback. Steven Nelson, even though we know he's not a shutdown corner, he's a very serviceable corner, and he grades out well. So therefore, you bring in six defensive backs. You've seen what I hate to say this. You've seen what the Patriots did with that. You confused the heck out of Tom Brady by bringing these backs in there. Therefore, they had to try to run the ball. They couldn't run the ball because it was too much speed on the field. We just faced a Chiefs team that had nothing but speed on the field. We have an issue, yes, with our linebackers filling. You know how you fix that? You put speed on the field and you tell your defensive tackle stop playing this hold up scheme and attack for it. Attack for it. You tell them to slant. You tell them to stunt. You don't see none of that. You don't see none of that whatsoever. And yes, and if your defensive line is able to get some pressure, right, via these different line stunts, these different situations you have with the defensive linemen, that covers up the innate ability of your linebackers, and therefore you don't play 2 linebackers on a goal line situation where they have 4 or 5 receivers. There's no way in the world Eric Wilson should be covering Tyreek Hill. What multiverse are you coming from when you have a linebacker that can't even cover a tight? It can't even cover me covering the fastest guy in the NFL. That makes absolutely no sense.
I agree.
He needs to come out this week and say, you know what, I'm gonna get fired if I don't do something.
Oh, and that's maybe realistic. I mean, I don't think they're gonna fire him in the middle of the season, but I'm not giving him an out. I'm just saying that coupled with him not having this is when you look through the roster of defensive players, it's not a very very talented group outside of the defensive line, but because that's where they invested their money in the defensive line. And I'll give you the cornerbacks, just the cornerbacks, but the safeties are not, they're not up to par.
They're not up to par.
Talent wise,
I agree with that.
linebackers are not up to par talent wise. So I was using that, but I think if I had to divide it, I would say maybe 30% is not having the tools or the weapons that he needs on defense, but 70% of it, I agree with you, is scheming and coaching, and he could do a better job of putting those guys in a better position. Yet, like you said, bring in that dime package, put some speed on the field, and change that, because we're running a hybrid 3-4 sometimes, and in that hybrid 3-4. Fletcher Cox has to play the nose tackle type position in that,
He
right?
doesn't thrive in
And
that.
that's not what he does.
You're
He
right.
doesn't thrive in that. That's why he didn't like when Chip Kelly was here and Billy Davis defense. He didn't like that. The 3-4 is not is not taking full advantage of what Fletcher Cox can do.
Correct.
If you put him in a 4-3, 4 down lineman and let him play, he does a lot better in that situation. So it's up to Jonathan Gannon to change this philosophy. As a matter of fact, it's up to him to come up with a scheme because he said he doesn't have a scheme. Well, now you need to have a scheme because we've seen 4 games of your no scheme defense and it doesn't work. So you need to have a scheme and put it in place and really put your players in positions to make plays. Like and I hate to refer to it because it sounded a little wacky when he was saying it, but Nick Sirianni compared it to offense on offense when you have playmakers and you scheme to get the ball into the playmakers' hands. He said Jonathan Gannon basically has to do the same, where you're scheming to get your most talented defenders in a position where they can make plays. I
Yeah,
agree with that.
Fletcher is not a zero technique defensive tackle. He's not a guy that needs to be a clog. He's a guy that needs to be on go. His best system, like you said, was the 4-3, where he was able to pin his areas back and choose what gaps he wanted to take, not being covered up. We need to go back to that. Do what's best for this defense. That defensive line, he thrives in those zones, and right now it's being defined by just doing what the scheme asks him to do, and it's not productive. Come on, we can't play two safeties deep the whole game. You played the zone a whole game and decided at the end of the game to blitz everybody and leave a safety on the fastest guy in the field. Again, you lied on your resume. You're not putting your players in the best positions possible. Listen, I'm not a defensive coordinator. I know it's the end of the quarter. I'm not a defensive coordinator. I'm not a defensive coordinator, but I can see if somebody that's a casual fan can understand that, you know what, we do have corners that could play in this league. We have Slay, we have Maddox, we have Nelson, we have McLeod, we have Epps, we have Josiah Scott, McPherson. These are your dime package guys you put out there in those type of situations. Uh, you gotta be creative. You cannot continue with this defense and think you're going to survive the season as defensive coordinator of this Philadelphia Eagles football team.
No, that you can't. And I'll get to it in the second quarter. But that's the end of the first quarter.
And that's the end of the quarter.
You're watching Eagles Talk, the #1 Eagles coverage show on Facebook by Eagles fans for Eagles fans. We like to talk about our favorite football team, the Philadelphia Eagles. We do so in such a relaxed manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage. I did the Don Julio. I'm going to tap out. I got to go pick up my son, so I'm gonna let Pat do the rest of the shots for the game or the show. So Pat's doing the Terramata. Let me know what you're doing out there, and let's begin this second quarter. I'm sorry.
Woo.
You're now listening to the second quarter.
All right, everybody, raise your drinks and down the hatch. 3, 2, 1. All right, let me begin by going to the our third co-host, the people that's in the room. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. I went a whole quarter without even going to these guys, but the first person in the room tonight was KT Thomas. He says, hey. And then JT Smith says, yo. Diana is there. She says, hey. And Drexel is in the house. Good evening. Good evening, Drexel. Tyrone's in there. Fly, Eagles, fly. And Kiara is also there. I'll be at the game Sunday. Let us pray our defense shows up. Yes, let us all pray that happens. James Nook, what's up? James Nook is like two shows in a row. He's been there. Haven't seen him in a long time, but he's back. Frank, live from work. He's live from work. Tony Burr, our resident fan from down under, and it's morning time, and he's saying morning all. Deion Jones, okay, we need to reset our goals for the season, get better every week maybe. Yeah, that's what we have to look at. We have to look at progress every game. We understand that this roster, the way it's constructed today, is not a Super Bowl winning roster. We understand that. I had to reiterate that even Jeffrey Lurie in the offseason, I don't know if it was prior to hiring Nick Sirianni or afterwards, but he used the words that this is going to be like a 2-year, 3-year process. He actually, that was one of the reasons why he said that he let Doug go because Doug was trying to sell him on fixing this thing and getting it back on the Super Bowl contending track in one off season. And Jeffrey Lurie was like, "We understand this is not going to be a one off season fix. This is going to. We need to get younger, get some talent in here." And he said retool, but we all know, look at the word scrolling across the bottom, it's a rebuild. And a rebuild doesn't happen in one off season. So everybody refocus your glasses for the season because I know that that first game of the year kind of got us off focus and we went past rebuild right into we might be able to win the division and get in the playoffs. Pump your brakes a little bit. After you've seen the first 4 games, I don't know if that's going to happen. But I do know that we are in a rebuild, and I'm embracing it now. I'm embracing it. I'm never going to embrace losses. No, that's tough. I'm not telling you to settle for losses. I'm just saying look at this thing through different lenses now as we go forward. So KT also says, what I see is we need a new coaching staff. Dag, already. Dag, KD, all right, tell me how you really feel. Linebackers, O-line, receivers, safety, we don't even have a dime package. Yeah, that was embarrassing to say that. Tyrone says, I'll be at the game Sunday, Fly Eagles Fly. Yo, that's what's up. Dion also says, I know it's early, but I wouldn't give a fat rat's ass if we overhauled the coaching staff after one season. Wow, we're already calling for Nick Sirianni and Jonathan Gannon's head already. All right.
I'm definitely calling for Johnny Gavin. I want to shout out to Leaky League. He did have a point about us using his point, but you know what? It's not the thing that we're using a point. It just rotates into the show. Like for a defensive coach to not to be fully prepared for what's put in front of him. I mean, that's piss poor planning. Like, I mean, piss poor preparation leads to piss poor output. Like, this dude this cannot be our defense. Like, this cannot be our defense where we're playing a nickel defense every game and they rather let them run the ball against us, get our defensive line tired. You don't understand that when there's a 9 to 19, 16, 13, 14, 16 play drive, right? That tires out your best assets, which is your defensive lineman. Yes, these little runs, the philosophy is let them get the runs. Okay, nothing deep, but you're killing your linemen, and that's not conducive for a good, successful defensive game.
All right, Leaky Leak says we definitely have 6 good DBs: Slade, Maddox, Nelson, McLeod, Harris, Epps, or McPherson. We have options, and they're not bad options. All right, I'll give you that. Um, I kind of
You
agree
forgot
with that.
Josiah Scott.
And let's talk about this though. We talking about the game, but we had 2 free agents out there that were released, surprise releases in the league this year, and we could probably have used, if not Stephon Gilmore, we definitely could have used Jalen Smith. And surprisingly enough, well, not surprisingly, but disappointingly enough, Jalen Smith signed with the Packers. And no mention if whether the Eagles even made an attempt or not. I'm not shocked. I knew that we were probably not going to get Stephon Gilmore because he's a little older,
Yeah,
and
they wanted to
he
trade him. They wanted to get
and
that
they
money
wanted
off.
to trade him, and also he would probably, if he had the choice, he would probably choose a team that's closer to winning now with him being in his 30s already.
Well, he's
He's
from
not.
South
This is
Carolina.
a rebuild. This is
Yeah.
a rebuild. Who wants to come to a rebuild situation when you've only got a few? You know, the clock is ticking on your career. Who
Ryan
wants to
Kerrigan.
come into the?
Ryan Kerrigan.
Yeah,
Ryan
well, he
Kerrigan.
was looking for a paycheck. But when the clock is ticking, but Kerrigan is not in the position that Gilmore is. He didn't win Defensive Player of the Year within the last 3 years, and still playing at a Pro Bowl level.
Well,
So
you
he
gotta
was just
understand
looking
something
for a
too.
job.
Yeah, you gotta understand something. Gilmore, he went back basically to his hometown. He's from South Carolina. He played college ball in South Carolina, and also he's still on the pup list, so he's not even available to play in this game. He won't be available until at least week 6, probably week 8. So he's not going to be available. He has a quad issue, so that that had to go through. That didn't go have to go to waivers. They actually made that trade and made that happen. The thing with Jalen Smith, I know Dante said this a long time ago. Even my brother said this about former cowgirls. Like they don't fare well when we pick up former cowgirls, and that's 100% true. But that former cowgirl, he was better than all our linebackers put together.
All right, Leaky Leak is bragging a little bit. I love how my point last week is your main talking point. I'll just take a shout out, bro. All right, shout out to Leaky Leak. But point out what that point is so I can really give you
Oh
credit.
no, we used to talk about a defensive coach not having a philosophy and stuff of that nature, and going
Oh.
through the different what we was basically talking about in the first quarter. It was a lot.
All right.
And
So
I'm
shouts
gonna
out to
take a
you,
shot.
Leak, that you understood that.
And I appreciate you tuning in, man, because he definitely tunes in, gives some great valid points as to all of our guests who tunes into our show. And yes, sometimes we do go right to the comments because some of the stuff can get you thrown off your game when you understand that this team is not where it needs to go, and those talker points that you guys are throwing out there are basically on the tip of our tongue.
Yes. That's why we're fans just like you, and
Yeah,
we
we're
share
nothing but
some of the
fans.
same views and same thoughts. So this is our forum for us fans to get together and talk about what we think, what we perceive that our team is lacking in, and the mistakes they're making. We love them and praise them when they do good, but we criticize and we dissect when they are doing wrong and when they're doing bad. And right now they're not doing as well. Well, I don't know. They may
could be
be
doing
on
much
par. Maybe they may be able to do, but these are the growing pains of a team that's in a rebuild, a team that's retooling their roster, and doing it while our new coach gets I guess broken in
I mean,
to
he's a
being
rookie
a coach.
and
He's a rookie coach, and our staffs are basically rookies also in most of the positions. Jonathan Gannon's never been a defensive coordinator. So these are the growing pains that you go through. So if you really want to judge this season and judge this team, you have to judge it on that fact that these are new people, and we are looking for adjustments and progression throughout the season. Not everybody has to start somewhere. Andy Reid's first season was not glorious. You understand? So they're going to get the time. I think they're going to get the time to be able to turn the ship around. But we've got to see some progress again. Like, we've got to see this defense come out and be a lot better than what we seen last week for us to have hope and for these guys to even have a chance to be here for 3 years. You know what I'm saying? We can't see the same thing. We cannot see that same defense for a third week in a row because we've gotten gashed on the ground by Dallas and Kansas City and
Kansas City almost had they had 200 yards total.
200 yards, yo.
They had 200 total yards rushed. Kansas City, a team that's not known for running the ball, even though they have some good running backs, they had 200 yards rushing against us. When I think about that, like,
Yo, what's up, Roscoe? What's going
oh,
on? My man is here.
when I think
Roscoe.
about that, it's just mind blowing that we rather have a team that would normally throw, even though Mahomes threw 5 touchdowns, right?
Hold up. Throw a flag, man,
What's
please.
that?
Here we go with this bullshit.
Flag on the play.
Carmelo. Here we go with this bull. Hurts not ready. Should have kept Foles.
Foles came in starting.
He can't even start in Chicago. Now, don't get me wrong. He's our Super Bowl hero. He's forever going to be a folk hero in the city of Philadelphia. But why are we throwing darts at Hurts after coming off of his best game of his career? Basically, this is the best game of his career. We're talking about Hurts. Hurts is not the problem. I told you in the post game, Hurts is not the problem yet. Until he is. But right now, he's not the problem. When you saw better play calling from our coach, you saw a better Hurts. That's not a coincidence. It's not. So Hurts, he's the least of my worries right now going into the Carolina game. That's the end of the second quarter, man.
And that's the end of the quarter.
Yo, you're watching Eagles Talk, the #1 Eagles coverage show on Facebook by Eagles fans for Eagles fans. And here at Eagles Talk, we like to talk about our favorite football team, the Philadelphia Eagles. We do so in such a relaxed manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage in the form of shots. I was doing the Don Julio. I'm not any longer, but Pat is going to take up the mantle, and he's going to continue on by doing the Terramana tequila. So let me know what you guys are drinking out there. And let's toast our Philadelphia Eagles as we head into the game against the Carolina Panthers. So everybody, raise your glass to the Philadelphia Eagles. Down the hatch, 3, 2, 1.
You're now listening to the third quarter.
In this third quarter, and it's a crazy thing that you brought up Jalen Hurts, because I wanted to go into what I saw with Jalen Hurts. I know you had something you was about to put up there.
Yeah, that's Leaky League. Bro, use everything I say, man. It's all love. I support y'all 100%. And we appreciate that, yo. We appreciate
Definitely do.
Somebody said earlier, I think it was Kyle. Kyle said, let me see if I can find this comment. He said, yo, we need to draft. All right, here we go. If we have 3 picks in the first round, I'm taking 2 linebackers and the O-line. Look, we might need to take all defensive play. I mean, and I say that because the Panthers did that. If it wasn't this year, I think it was last year. Last year's draft, every single pick of their draft were defensive players. Well, I don't know how many times that was done in the NFL history, but they chose all defensive players in one draft recently. And maybe we might need to think about because we have no playmakers on defense, man. We don't get any turnovers. What happened to those days, man?
It's the defensive philosophy. You gotta be opportunistic, and the defense doesn't have that. Like, you don't have these. You're not creating turnovers. So with exotic blitzes, with exotic coverages, with different packages out there, you create opportunities to take the ball away. When you don't have that and you play a vanilla set and you keep Eric Wilson out there starting linebacker, you're not going to get many turnovers. And the crazy thing about it is he has our only turnover. Our second turnover.
Yeah. Fletcher Cox. Yeah, you're right.
But I did want to talk about. I know we can talk about the defense all game, but I did want to go into this Jalen Hurts thing here because, for what I've seen, yes, he has a lot of bright spots. He has a lot to work on in his second year, and technically still his rookie year. He did have an outstanding game, throwing for 387 yards, 2 touchdowns. But going back to the tape, not the penalties called back, not the touchdowns that were called back due to penalties, but just going back to the tape, there were about 3 opportunities on camera that he could have had at least 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns. That he blatantly stared the receiver down and either ran or moved his way and moved off of that receiver. That play where Quez Watkins got hurt on that injury in the red zone, Devontae Smith basically destroyed his corner and beat him to the inside on a slant. Hurts looked him straight in the eye, and for some reason he didn't let the trigger go. And that's the confidence thing he has to get more into, about being more confident about his passes and just sometimes letting it rip. I understand that you don't want to turn the ball over and be a turnover machine, but at the same time, quarterbacks, you got to have a kind of a cavalier mindset. You got to have, like, a gunslinger mindset. You got to have a forgetful mindset too, because turnover is you're going to turn the ball over, but you got to take advantage of all the opportunities that's out there. This guy could have pushed up 400, maybe almost 500 passing yards if he just let the ball go. But hindsight is 2020. Brian Graham, and you can find missed throws from every single quarterback in the league. I do agree with that. But this is a learning experience for this kid, and I'm happy that we have him. I think he's going to be a franchise. I hate to say the franchise word. I think he's going to be a very serviceable, very good quarterback for us going forward. I just need him to stay in the pocket a little tad longer, 1 second, and see that receiver coming open deep on a crosser. But the offensive scheme was actually, I love the offensive scheme. Besides not running the ball a lot, but the offensive scheme was actually a pretty scheme. If you go back and look at the tape.
Yeah, it was a good. It was a better game than the previous week against the Dallas Cowboys. Nick Sirianni did bounce back well. Jalen, as a result of his bouncing back well on the play calling, Jalen Hurts had a great bounce back game, also coming off of that horrible Dallas loss. So those guys, and that's what you want to see. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we want to see. We want to see. We don't expect to win every game, but we want to see improvement every week, and we saw that with the offense going from the Dallas game to the game last Sunday against the Chiefs. We actually put up points and we moved the ball pretty efficiently up and down the field. Yeah, we
Yeah,
missed some. We left some meat on the bones. But like I said, in the fourth quarter, it was 28-23. Nobody expected us to be
no,
in that
at
game
all.
like that. So, and then that discourages you a little bit more um, when something like that happens because none of us really expected us to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. So it was a pleasant surprise
Hmm.
to find yourself only down 5 points and your offense answering because they were answering whether it was with a field goal or whatever. But your defense has to show up too. They have to do their job
Yeah.
because 7 drives and 6 of them resulted in touchdowns. That cannot happen. We
No,
cannot do that.
you cannot continue to do that and think you're going to have another win in this league. This team is built to score points. You look at the guys we have. We're built to score points. Once we put it together on offense, um, and cut off the penalties, this offense is going to be very dynamic. It's going to be almost unstoppable at times, especially you put it in the equation the health of our offensive line if we're able to stay healthy. The defense need to do their job. We
All right,
all we
let's look
ask for
at.
this defense to have two or three stops.
Let me ask everybody out there too, because it's natural for us to jump on what we did wrong in that past game. But
Hmm.
let's take a moment and focus on some positives.
Oh
Like I
yeah.
said, this is a process, and so we're looking for progress. So I just stated that the offense, we saw some progress there, where that offense stalled and was very vanilla, bland, uh, not creative enough against Dallas. We saw an offense that bounced back and actually moved the ball all game long. That's one positive. But tell
Mhm.
me what else you guys seen that was positive. I'll
I'm
let you go.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Devontae Smith, he has been able to get open all year. He has been able to get open all year. We can go back and look if I were able to pull up the tape here and look and show you his different routes. That kid, he does have the it factor as of a number one receiver. Now, with that being said, I mean, I gotta give a shout out to Kenneth Gainwell. Even though we want to run the ball more with Miles Sanders, his ability to get catch the ball and make something happen in the open field, as a rookie, it's going to help this. It's going to help this offense down the road because normally rookies don't mature like Gainwell has, and right now he is a dominant rough force.
Yes, he's a dynamic player, being able to catch and run
Hmm.
out of the backfield. He is supplanting uh, Miles Sanders
But
as the
Miles
go-to
Sanders is
back. I
yeah.
love Miles Sanders. We like to see a lot of them, but um, it seems as though the coaching staff is very high on Kenny Gainwell. And then think about this too: they have no ties to Miles Sanders. This coaching staff did not draft Miles Sanders or anything like that. But they did draft Kenny Gainwell, and maybe that's a part of it. He didn't have a great training camp in catching the ball, they said, and even him himself admitted that Kenny Gainwell is a better natural receiver than what he is.
Well, Gainwell was a
Another
slot
thing that
receiver.
may be going against him, and I heard this said on Sports
Hmm.
Talk today, is that uh, Miles dances a little bit. He dances and goes outside. Sometimes he doesn't hit the hole he's designed to hit. I understand that you have to give the good running backs the room to be creative and use their instinct and everything, but I think that was even a problem in his rookie and second year of him not hitting the hole that the play's designed for and trying to bounce it outside a little bit more. So I'm not saying that's what it is, but those are things that you have to keep your eye on sometimes when you're wondering, because it's a mystery to me why he's not getting the ball more than he's getting it right now. So I'm just looking at some things that he does that maybe the coaching staff is just not they're not happy with. So they give the ball to Kenny Gainwell, who can catch the ball a lot. They like to pass a lot. So maybe that's why he's getting more touches than Miles Sanders. But I'll tell you this: if nobody said it, I'll go to a couple comments. John Baptiste, that's the end of the third quarter. John Baptiste says we utilized Kenny Gainwell. He was a matchup nightmare, which he was. Tony Barron says Sanders is in a contract year. How he's pulling strings, maybe. Wow. Some of the other things, when we run the ball, our running backs showed that they can get yards. I agree with that. We just don't run it enough. JR says Quez Watkins also looks like he is a solid playmaker, speed, and can go up and get the 50-50 ball. Quez Watkins is
It's
definitely,
dynamic.
if
Yeah.
not the number one, number two receiver on his team thus far. I'm not saying for the whole year, but thus far he's not the number three. The Rager is the number three. If you looked at performance and ability, athleticism, Quez is number two on this team with these three wide receivers that we're talking about, and he may be pushing for number one. I mean, early in the season, but Devontae just hasn't had a lot of targets except for last game. He got targets last game. They did make it a point to put the ball in his hands. People say they love. Frank said he loves.
I love
Quez.
Quez. I love Quez.
Quez too.
Quez is the fastest person on the field, game in, game out, except for last game because it was Tyreek Hill. But he is the fastest guy on the field, and he's starting to learn how to use that speed as a wide receiver. And he can be dynamic in certain situations. We just got to make sure we can get the ball to him. Before we end this quarter, Don, I do want to state something from another rookie coach. I don't know if you heard this, but it brought tears to my eye and it brought joy to my heart. And it's from the Chargers coach Stanley, Brandon Stanley. He basically summarized what it is to run the ball in this league and how it is important to run the ball to set up your play action pass. And I quote, "What I think the running game does for a quarterback is gives you some breathers. You don't need a good running game to be a good play action team, but what you need the running game for is the physical element of the game. There's a physical side to the game that's real. If you're just a passing team, there's a physical element to the game that the defense doesn't have to respect, and that's the truth. Man, this dude, we should have hired him.
Yeah,
Because
that's real.
that philosophy. You take the philosophy what he just said. That statement what he just said about the physicality of the game, running the ball. You don't have to run the ball and try to score every time, but the idea of defensive team have to play against the run in the pass can set up many different things. You can utilize play action much better. You can utilize the RPO much better if you're actually physically running the ball. Not an I set because we don't really run an I set because we got a fullback, but I'm saying a single back set. A quarterback under center and just hand it off, let him run the ball, like literally run the ball. None of these RPO stuff.
Right, I got you on that. I think we give Nick Sirianni gives a heavy dose of RPO, and he's going to have to make adjustments because the defenses they have this on film. So don't think we can come in and do exactly the same thing we did last week. You're going to have to change things up, and maybe just can Jalen be under center and turn around and hand the ball off? Can we do that type of running? I mean,
he
every
did it at
run,
Alabama.
please.
Let's think
Yeah, I
about
mean,
it.
every run doesn't have to be an RPO.
Yeah,
You know
he
what I'm
did it
saying?
at Alabama.
All right. So
I mean, in the
nobody
quarter.
pointed this out.
Go ahead.
So I'll point it out. Another positive from our game on Sunday was the offensive line.
Don't say
How's
Andre
nobody
Dillard,
say
though.
anything?
'Cause when-
But
'cause
four
I-
out of our 5 starters out of the game, the offensive line did a good job in Sunday's game. With Dillard did a good job. He did a good job. He had a couple penalties. They had to cut. And I'll tell you this too: if you watch the game, a couple of those down the field penalties was not his fault. They were a result of RPOs where Jalen decided not to give the ball to the running back and to make it a pass play. And he caught some of the offensive linemen off guard that were blocking for the run and not and they were down. They got caught downfield. I've seen that.
Not the one touchdown. The one touchdown pass. It was a straight pass play.
I didn't say everyone.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So he made mistakes, but I'm just saying overall he had a good game. The offensive line as a whole had a good game. Driscoll, Herberg, and Landon Dickerson didn't have an outstanding game, but they filled in well, like John Batiste said. They played okay. And that's promising, knowing that this line now, I don't know is it fair to say, but this line is a little injury prone. This is the second year in a row. We're only in the fourth week, and we had to play four of our starters were out of the lineup. This is a little reminiscent to last year, but the difference here is that some of these young guys are doing well in filling in for the starters that are out. And that's promising because Lane Johnson's not going to be here all the time. Brooks, we already talked about Brooks might not even be here next year with this being his third year in a row of missing at least 6 games. So we have to depend on our young drafted talent to be able to fill those roles. And Sunday was promising in that regard. They still young, they still have learning to do and all that, but I think they did a good job filling in last week, especially
they did a very
the guy that had to fill in for Driscoll. Most of them, because they had to switch at the last second. Lane Johnson was ruled out before the game, so they didn't get those first team reps during the week last week. So they had to come in cold, so to speak, and do the job that they did, and I think they did an admirable job.
Shoot, man, Driscoll. He's one of the besides Mulally, he's one of the best draft picks we had in the last 2 years, as far as offensive line, because he could play every position except center. And he's not just doing it, being okay. He's actually doing it on a starter's level. He's actually very producing.
And that's remarkable. Think about it. This guy had no training camp. No. And he's coming off a major injury. He hasn't played since last year in college. And they threw him in the starting lineup. So if you see him not performing at an all-pro level, give him a break. You know what I'm saying? This guy just came out of college.
But your thing is,
I think I'm okay with him.
I'm not giving Andre Dillard a break. You're a first-round draft pick. I am not giving you a pass on any of these situations. I told you that one play, he literally is downfield looking around. What are you doing?
Yeah, because he probably expected Jalen Hurts to hand the ball off, and he's like, "Oh shit!"
But you would think he'd be blocking somebody. No, he's not blocking anybody. He's looking around. He's basically looking at the play. The play where he was in the red zone, he was downfield. That touchdown got called back when he was in the red zone. He was blocking his man, and he just continued to drive him forward towards the end zone. Okay, there's blocking, then there's pass blocking. That was a pass play. There was no RPO about that situation. It's a pass play. Why are you drive blocking on the pass play?
Let's end this quarter.
And that's the end of the quarter.
So that's the end of the third quarter. You're watching Eagles Talk, the #1 Eagles coverage show on Facebook. That's by Eagles fans, for Eagles fans. And here at Eagles Talk, we like to talk about our favorite football team, the Philadelphia Eagles, and we do so in such a relaxed manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage as I point my bottle of Corona at you guys while I'm talking. Listen to what I'm saying. All right, so this week I was doing the Don Julio 1942, but I'm tapped out. Pat is going to carry the mantle for me. He's doing the Teremana tequila by The Rock. A good tequila, too. Very good tequila. Let me know what you're doing out there. We're going to salute our Philadelphia Eagles with a shot. Everybody raise your glass. And down the hatch. 3, 2, 1.
You're now listening to the fourth quarter.
Fourth quarter, man. got a good game coming on tonight too, man. The Rams
Yeah.
versus the Seattle. So
Seahawks,
I
yeah.
got to see that. That should be entertaining for a change because some of these Thursday night games are sleepers. But this one we got a good game tonight. All right, let's talk about what's coming up this Sunday, man. A little preview. I'll
Woo.
go to a couple comments first before we start that.
Gotcha.
Donovan, his comment is on the screen now. Do y'all think we're going to keep Ertz? Do you think we're going to keep Ertz? I
Uh,
think so.
I don't know. I actually think we might keep him because Dallas Goddard is a very good tight end. He's a top 10 tight end right now in this league, and you gonna have to pay him like a top 10 tight end. His ability to block, his ability to catch, that's gonna be a hard call at the end of the season.
All right, Jeremiah, great point here. I love this. I've even thought this too in my daily travels. Our O-line need to get with Kelsey to see what his regimen is. I was thinking that, like, why this guy should be given his fitness plan, his nutrition plan to everybody else on the offensive line because he's the only one that stays healthy. They need to duplicate whatever he's doing. I don't know if it's Nutrisystem. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's PX, whatever that fitness program is, Peloton, whatever the hell
Not yet.
Kelsey's doing. These guys need to do
You know
the
what
same
he's
thing.
doing? You know what he's
What?
doing? Like Kyle O'Brien said, he's drinking beer in the shower. That's all he's doing. He literally was bartending all summer. Jason Kelsey was bartending all summer. So I mean, we need to get to the old regimens of these linemen. They didn't work out. They ate food. They drink beer. They did a couple. They lifted a couple weights, here and there. Shrieking. And they stayed healthy.
All right, Kyle says, is there anyone else out there that is as tired of Brandon Brooks as I am? Every year we hear how great
I
a
love
shape he's
Brandon.
in. This dude is getting paid way too much money to sit on the bench the last 3 seasons. I understand your frustration.
Yeah, I
I'm a
do
little
too.
frustrated also. But this guy came in here and with the help of Stoutland, he turned himself into a perennial Pro Bowl player and all pro player, and I appreciate him for that. I recognize him for that. But yeah, I'm very, very frustrated that the past 3 years he has not been available to us because he's been in the hot tub more than he's been on the field.
What
So
they say, you can't make the club in the
you
tub.
can't
Right?
make the club in
Hey,
the
shout out
tub.
to J.R. Ritchie. He said, good football all weekend. Yes, Penn State, we need to lay the smacketh downeth as I drink the Roxy Milk Terramata tequila on the Iowa Hawkeyes. Listen, man, nobody liked the Hawkeyes because of the program. But on all seriousness, we do feel kind of disrespected because they jumped over us to get into that number 3 spot nationally ranked, and they put us at 4 or 5. I don't know what they put us at, but this is a great weekend for football.
Yeah, I agree with that. The only one that stays healthy. Kyle says, "Let's go." He's hyped. He had a shower beer too. This is nothing like having a beer in the shower. You know what? I have to try that. I've never had a beer in the shower. I've never had a
Yo,
beer in the shower.
Reef, I remember that, Reef.
Pat,
He's-
that's what we did for the Braves. Oh, what?
They
What
used to
y'all
have
do?
this. They used to have this juice on the sideline during the game.
Oh,
They
y'all
had
had that. Oh, okay. Y'all was doing that. Hey,
I
back
don't
in
know.
the day,
I
yo.
didn't have it. I never drunk it. It was Reef. It was with some other people. I was like, I stayed away from that.
All right. Okay. All right. I can't pronounce his name, but Mr. Danzy Sr. says, can they move Cox on outside a little bit because he's getting double teamed since BG got hurt?
You see, Cox is an inside 1-2 technique type of player. He's not a guy who's a nose tackle. He's not a defensive end. He's a guy that can actually take over the game inside if you let him with your scheme.
Play his natural position of a
Correct.
4-3 defensive tackle, not a nose guard.
Not the
Where
one.
and you got and if you
Or
look
the
at the
zero
tape,
technique, yeah.
like I said, they do a hybrid 3-4 sometimes. So in some instances, he's playing that nose guard type position where he's just eating up blocks. And when he has to do that, he can't do what he does best if he has to play a nose guard type of position on the field. So again, Jonathan Gannon, Come on, man. Scheme this guy. This is one of your better defensive line people. Scheme better so to fully take advantage of what he does. And I get it. He does when he does eat those blocks up. Hargrave eats, and Hargrave is playing like an all-pro
Yeah.
person right now. So he's benefiting a lot from that. But if we want to be fair, and we're going to criticize Cox for not putting up the numbers that we expect or we're used to him putting up, we have to be honest and say why he's not doing that. It's not because his talent level has fallen off that much. I know he's in his 30s and he has regressed some, but not to the point where he's not getting any stats. So I have to look at the scheme, look at the tape, and see what he's doing out there and how they have him playing.
He is taking on double teams, but he is getting beat 1-on-1. You can see it. He's a different player. He's definitely a totally different player when the game kicks off. And that's whatever scheme they're running is not conducive for him to be successful. And I hate to say that scheme hinders the player because the player got to go out there and play. Regardless of what kind of scheme it is, but I think it is. I think it's really hindering it. You could say the thing about Brandon Graham. Remember when they moved Brandon Graham to an outside linebacker and stuff like that? It's not his position. So I
drunk the Braves juice.
Yeah, Milton is a
the
hybrid.
Braves juice. All right.
I never drunk.
Who's Ed Ingram? A guard.
I don't know who he is. I'm not on college yet. I mean, I'm not looking up these players yet like that. There are some hidden gems in this in that's going to be coming out. All these quarterbacks are not better than Jalen Hurts. I'll tell you that right now. And I've seen all of the top quarterbacks are supposed to be coming out.
No, this was he talking about a guard.
Yeah, I'm just going to give you some draft nuggets. The only quarterback that may go in the first round is a quarterback out of Liberty.
Unless we lose this week, we not. Well, hopefully we're not going to be in there high enough to get a. But Miami might. So yeah, I don't know. But I'm behind Jalen Hurts right now. I'm not down on Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is the least of my worries right now. We have some more immediate needs right now, or more areas that need more immediate attention right now, and that's our defense. We have to scheme better, and we got to do a better job.
You're definitely right about that. We got to take Eric Wilson out the game. I'm okay with Alex Singleton in there. I'm okay with him in there on occasions, but Davion Taylor is healthy. Get him in there. Sean Taylor is healthy. Get him in there. They attack. They don't wait to get attacked.
Why couldn't we get Jalen Smith in there though?
Because Halfrey, how you say it, Halfrey, then go ahead and do the job.
Why? Halfrey? I mean, you live to make those type of moves. Why not bring in Jalen Smith? And I understand maybe he had a choice here. He was put on. He was released, so he could choose the team he wanted to go to. And I'm not. I won't blame you, Howie, if that's where he chose to go, because if you look at it, that they're in a better position than we are. And I said that Stephon Gilmore is older, and he probably would choose a team that is contending for the Super Bowl and a playoff contender rather than come to us. Well, Jalen Smith might have did the same thing with choosing Green Bay over coming to us.
He just went home.
Can you blame him?
He just went home. That's all he did.
Oh, Jalen Smith?
Yeah.
Jalen Smith lives in Green Bay?
Well, Jalen Smith is from that Chicago type area, Chicago Green Bay area. He's from he played in Notre Dame. So these players, when you get into free agency, especially these veteran players, there's no waiver wire. When you get released, you go right to free agent. You can basically pick the spot you want to go to. He saw the opportunity to go to a contender. He went to a contender. So I'm not mad at that. Truthfully, I didn't want a Dallas Cowgirl to be here.
Oh, no, I had no problem with that.
Yeah.
All right, Robin, we'll see you on Sunday. Thank you very much. Let me go to some comments, Pat. I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
we need a whole new linebacker crew.
Yeah, we do.
Wow, you're right. And he goes further in saying Singleton is not good enough in coverage as well. And Shell, our co-host that is on assignment, says, I concur. That's one of his taglines right there. I concur. Richard Booth jumped in there and says coaching is the problem, and I concur. I'll have to take a page out of Shell's book. I concur. Coaching is the problem right now. because we have to put up with these growing pains that we have to go through with this young coaching staff,
Yes.
and hopefully they will make the adjustments and prove themselves worthy of continually running this team, because I think they'll at least get another year. But depending on what the record is at the end of this year and what it looks like next year, they could be on the hot seat in 1 year. 1 year,
Yeah.
they could be on the hot seat. So they've got to do a better job. We've got to see adjustments. We can't come out. We saw our defense get gashed for 100+ yards against Dallas. Came out, expected to see improvements, and what happened? We see our defense gets gashed for 200 yards. So instead of progress, we saw regression last week. We saw regression on our defense, and that's not a good sign here. So this is a winnable game coming up on Sunday, yo. It's a winnable game, and we need to see the adjustments made in order to take advantage of that.
I love that statement right there. What is so hard about playing press coverage on receivers when you have the press coverage corners to play it? This damn zone. Listen, you got to take chances. Jim Johnson didn't become a great coordinator overnight. You got to take chances. You got to build your resume up, yes, but at the same time, you got to take chances. You can't sit in a vanilla defense this week. I don't know if Christian McCaffrey is playing this week. If he's playing, we definitely can't sit in the vanilla defense because he is a dynamic guy out the backfield, and whatever he's doing, whenever he touches the ball, there's a chance that he can score.
All right, that was the end of the fourth quarter, man. I know it's late in the game and all that, but this week, one of my sports talk heroes announced that he will be retiring next year, at the end of next year, in December 2022. And that's one Angelo Cataldi from 94 WIP Sports Talk Radio in Philadelphia. What a guy. Amazing. I enjoyed his show for 30 years. I've been listening to Angelo since he started, man. And this guy is amazing, incredible. And he's calling it a career next year. Too short. 30 years seems like it's too short.
I mean,
but shout out to him, man. I know it's not over, and we'll revisit this when it comes down to December of next year. But that was like, that's my guy. That's my guy, yo. And he's calling it a career. We wish him all the best of luck. But we will have final farewells next year and all that. But for this show right here, man, you guys go enjoy Thursday Night Football, and then come back here on Sunday as we will preview the Eagles versus the Carolina Panthers down in Charlotte. So come back and check it out with us, man. Don't do the pregame with the networks and all that. Do it with the real. Yeah, don't do it with them. Do it with the real. We keep it real here, 100%. Give you guys a chance to voice your opinions as we voice ours, and we have a good time as we're doing it.
Yes.
So see us here on Sunday, man.
Before
Enjoy
we
the
close
game
out,
tonight, man.
Before we close out.
Yeah.
Before we close out, Shell
What?
did something that was not expected.
What?
He got to be the last comment of the day. You see the last comment that he put up there?
Yeah, these
It's
guys
not in
can't
caps.
coach. It's not difficult.
It's not in
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's all right. All right. So join us here on Sunday, man. We'll see you guys then. The Eagles take on the Carolina Panthers. Enjoy the game tonight. Be safe. I'm out. Your man Dante the Dark Knight. For Pat Sandlin, we'll see you guys Sunday. Peace.